Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, morning.
Morning, everybody.
Sorry, I just sent an email just to check if everything was working.
I saw it.
So it looked like it's okay, right?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. But anyhow, we'll share already.
Already doing the trial. Should I share my screen just to check that everything is okay?
Would be good. I mean, if you could do this, yes, it would be great. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thanks. I'll try it in a minute.
Hi. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Janice, I think you used the Albert link to join.
I'm sharing.
Okay, I'm doing. Sorry, I'm changing. Okay. I'm leaving it. I'm coming back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sharing my screen. Is okay for all of you?
Yes.
Yes.
And if I go to the next slide. Takes time. Yeah. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank
Okay,
you.
great.
Thank you.
So I stop sharing now.
Okay, perfect.
Thank
Janice.
you.
Yeah. There's someone else that wants to do the trial?
I would like to try. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
No. Albert. Gerhard. Thank you.
Everyone is
Jocelyn.
in my presentation.
Yes.
Thank you.
Just a question. Someone just joined over Teams. I don't know.
Yeah, it was me because I the
Hi.
link just popped on my Outlook, so I just clicked on that, and then I realized that on the email there was a link, individual link for everyone. Sorry.
No. It's okay. I just thought maybe I was in the wrong link or I need to go into the Teams one as well.
No,
The more personalized the details are, the more we make our life difficult. So Isabel and Andrea did all this work, and we are keep joining with others.
Now we can see that it's really you.
Yes.
Now
Sorry.
we can see that it's really you.
Yes, who is Martin, Marion, Diana, and Noelian. Just I need to have this role now. You need to keep the time, please, okay? Well, we are going to be very strict with time, please, okay? So 5 to 7 minutes each one of you. I know it's difficult, but we start with ARSINOE, so you understand that if this does not go well with time, we will have Isabella and Andrea will kill us. So please, okay, keep that in mind. I will be there, of course, to give you the last minute, Marty. You need to conclude, but okay, please try that we keep the time, please. Okay, thanks a lot.
We will do our very best. Trust me.
I know. I'm sure you will.
Someone else want to do the trial to be sure to feel confident with the system?
I can try. Hold on.
Okay, Zoom is in Spanish, and just in case I get lost, so oops, yeah, I'm ready. Someone else is already sharing. Okay. Go ahead.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good. So, I mean, fine, great. So I can.
Especially for the unsharing, because I can share usually, but it's difficult to find the unsharing quickly when you have to conclude.
That's true. I mean, that's been something that
So-
like a speaker sometimes.
Your voice is very low, Andrea.
Is it low?
Yeah. And Martin has raised his hand,
Yeah.
or
Yes, it was just a very quick question. Maybe I missed it because I was 2 minutes late. Sorry about that. Do we share our own presentations, or did you compile everything? Okay, we do that. Thank you. That's a good response.
Can you hear me
Right,
better now?
Yes.
Can you see my presenting now? Because I can't see anything on my screen.
No, you're not.
Not yet.
I think something popped up, but then disappeared again.
Now?
It's developing, yeah, I think. Now, yeah.
You
Okay.
have a lot of windows open that we can see the black marks on the screen.
These are okay. Better?
Yeah, it's better. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Zoom window.
Mhm.
So if I'm presenting, now in presentation mode.
Yes, but we can see your notes. So you have to go to display settings and swap the presenter view.
Okay. Now?
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you. Yeah, and it's a good idea to test this. Super complicated. Okay.
Maybe I just go next. Which is this one? Can you see my screen, like the presentation?
Yes.
Yes, not in presentation mode, but we
Not
can
in
see it.
presentation mode. Okay, then let me just. And now it's in presentation mode, I guess.
Yes.
It
Okay,
is.
perfect.
Yes.
Thank you.
May I try now? Yeah.
Perfect, we can see it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Changing slide. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Great.
Can I go next?
Thank you.
I also can see someone is not wearing the background of their project. So if it's easy and quick, maybe you can still do it.
I have to check it also.
Did you not see it just now? Then I'll try again because then it didn't work.
Okay.
You see presentation?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So Diana and Marion, Martin, would you like to make a quick test?
Sure, I can do that. So just always interesting to find the right window. So here's my window. I think you can see that. I did not.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes, so you can see what I have here, which is great.
Yes. It's not in
That works.
presentation
That works
mode.
fine. No, I know it's not in presentation mode.
Okay, well, okay.
This is how it looks in, yeah.
Yeah, you have
Now
to
it's-
also to we can see your notes, so you can.
I noticed, yeah, that's I will need to deal with. Okay.
So you have to go to display settings.
Where are these ones? Display setting, exactly. Duplicate slideshow.
And swap.
That looks better.
Yes,
So,
perfect.
presentation mode.
Nice. So
Good.
we're still
Now it
missing.
does. Works.
Yeah. So Albert has not joined, right, Isabella?
Not yet.
Okay.
Can I practice sharing?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Is it okay? Can you see the screen?
Not yet.
No, not yet.
No?
No.
I can see Amaya, Nasrin,
And now?
Anna,
Yes.
Valentina. You are not having your background. If you want to, it's just a suggestion. If you want to put the background of your project.
Yeah, we don't have
perfect.
actually.
You don't have.
Right?
We have. I asked once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we never use it. Okay, so
I do have the organization.
can you send it around?
Yeah, please. I
Yeah,
also don't.
let me check where it is exactly.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm not sure if we have it. If I receive it, I'll try it as well. But I don't see. Is Chiara here?
Chiara Trozzo is not yet.
It's not yet because she's the one. She's the one like that maybe knows. If we...
Amaya? Hi.
Yeah,
Good morning.
are you there? Hi.
I just sent you the background from
Thank you.
TransformAr on the email.
Maybe it was somewhere there. I'll try to do it now. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Diana, all good. Okay. And the presentation was, I think. Hi, Albert. Good morning.
Good morning.
Albert, we are doing the practice section for sharing the PowerPoint if you want.
Yeah. Do you want me test?
Yeah. If there is
Okay.
no one in the in the queue, I don't remember if everybody is.
Okay.
But
So
you can do.
yes. Is it working?
Yes.
Yes.
Albert. Excellent.
Yeah, you also try it.
Okay.
It should come. Is it working?
Working. Perfect.
Great.
Okay, we are starting in 1 minute.
Just one quick question. Does anybody know how to mirror the the virtual background? Or do you see it like in the right way?
We see it the right way around. So we can read. Maybe it's, yeah.
You see it
Okay,
in
interesting.
reverse.
I see it in, yeah, okay, perfect then. Thank you.
So maybe I can start taking a picture now that all the background are.
Yeah, the effects are some a bit strange, but I hope it's working. Is it okay with the TransformAr background?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, great.
I can see a little bit blue, but
yeah,
it's kind of nice.
Well, I try to do something with the lighting.
Okay, if you want to open your cameras, I just take a quick snapshot. Okay, first one, and I will take. Oh, my face is not.
After you take the picture, we are ready to start.
Okay, just the last one. So we are all. Okay.
And should have, the slide of the banner.
Yes, I'm doing it right now. Oh, I didn't practice this. I hope I can share it and then share without any issue. Okay, share here. I don't know where this the unshare button. I don't remember. It's on stop.
It is not in presentation mode, not yet.
Yeah. Okay. Then I will stop sharing. Otherwise, I cannot do anything else.
Oh, that's fine. That's okay. That's okay.
So we are starting the webinar.
Let's start it. Yes. Thanks.
Good luck, everybody, and a good meeting.
So, good morning, everybody. Good morning and welcome on for this ARSINOE online seminar, which is adapting to climate change, systemic water solutions for resilience. And on behalf of Water Europe, I'm Andrea Rubini, I'm the Director of Operations of Water Europe. I'm really pleased to welcome you all speakers and participants to this seminar, which is organized, as said, by Water Europe for the EU-funded project ARSINOE. Today, we are going to speak and address, and hopefully address, because this, speaking it's easy, addressing is a bit more complex in real life environment, and speak about water resilience in climate adaptation and how much this requires systemic solutions and approach. We know that water is really, the foundation of our society, our ecosystems, the economies, the communities, and and we all know how much climate change is putting, quite an immense pressure on the availability of water in terms of quality, quantity, distribution, infrastructures, and so on. So, we are going to tackling these challenges requires really a systemic and an innovative approach in order not only to manage water in an efficient way under this unprecedented pressure because of climate change, but also to give the right value and the true value to water. But now, before diving into the discussion, because we have today we have a number of projects, not only ARSINOE, but we have also sister projects, TransformAr, Impetus, REGILIENCE, that will speak, together and provide their experience, in and the impact of climate change on water management. But before entering into this discussion, I would like really to introduce, as an honor for me, the keynote speaker with Vanessa Ramos from Aguas do Porto. Vanessa is the leader of the working group on water and climate of Water Europe, and she will share her invaluable insights and expertise. So I'm very happy to keynote speech. Thank you, Vanessa, for being with us today.
Thank you, Andrea. Good morning, everyone. I will share my presentation. I don't know if you are you seeing my presentation? I test this before, but now I'm not. I don't know why.
Is not in the presentation mode.
Okay.
I try.
I'm sorry. I will try again.
Is still, as a not in presentation mode, or you might try, to push the button on bottom right. We have this gray box, on top. Can you tell me to click, on the, yes, on
Here?
bottom, on the, yes, that one.
And now?
Okay, no, it's okay.
Oh, sorry for this. Good morning, everyone. Again, sorry for this. I tried before, but I don't know why now it's not working. I'm from Águas e Energia do Porto. I'm the leader of the Water and Climate Expert Group of Water Europe. I'm very pleased to be here with you for this session. According to the report Europe's State of Water published in 2024, the overall quality of Europe's water is not improving. In fact, by 2021, only 37% of surface water bodies in Europe were at good or high ecological status, and 29% at good chemical status. In part, this is the result of a combination of pressures on water. It is important to reduce the source of pressure in water resources to improve Europe's water and build resilience. Climate change intensifies water challenges. In fact, according to several IPCC reports, the effects of climate change have been felt all over the world, and the pace and scale of climate action have been insufficient to tackle climate. With every increment of global warming, regional changes in extremes become more widespread and pronounced. Several assessments pointed out in the same direction. Europe faces urgent climate risks that are outpacing our adaptation efforts, with climate change posing several challenges to water management. Let's take a look at a short video that emphasizes just this. I hope this works. fact, recently, in the last years, we have been experiencing several climate change effects around the world, namely the recent extreme floods in Australia and in Spain. Also, according to the States of Europe's Water Report, it was found that around 20% of European territory and 30% of the population face water stress annually. This situation is getting worse as water systems are poorly adapted to cope with these rapid changes. In fact, at the beginning of this year, the Joint Research Center published a study on the progress of the major objectives of the Green Deal, which shows that we are moving in the right direction, but with a long way to go. So, how can we establish the path to water? We should improve water management, implement better and smarter irrigation systems, improve the health of the soils, reduce pollution, and address key threats, increase financing for climate action, expand nature-based solutions, empower European regions with groundbreaking solutions and systemic strategies for regional climate resilience. So it is essential to emphasize that water is at the heart of the climate resilience. It is essential to engage, to collaborate, and to drive systemic solutions for water-smart society. Thank you very much. So now I give the word to Andrea.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this inspiring presentation. So, sometimes I myself, of course, I'm familiar with this situation about, the impact of climate change on water. Then I get surprised about the data and and how much the impact of climate change is accelerating, on our, daily life and the life of everybody in Europe and beyond Europe. So, of course, what we see, from your presentation, from your keynote, is that there's an urgent need for having integrated strategies and to address, these challenges that connect water to climate in an interlaced way, for which then in the end, the real water, the real climate crisis is the water crisis. And to share my screen for a while, just for giving the view of Europe about what it means for systemic approach to the water challenges, the climate change. And what we do, we have a vision. We advocate for what we call a water smart society. At the center, we have the value of water. And in a nutshell, what we want to do is that we want in our vision, water scarcity and pollution must be avoided. They will, because these two factors hinder economic development and the social well-being of everybody and the next generations. Water efficiency and must become a standard practice, not something that we see in the future as an opportunity. It should be really a practice, a standard practice. We need smart technologies that can integrate and optimize water management. And then, of course, in the end, we need an ecosystem, a cross-sectoral approach that fosters collaboration about different disciplines, sectors, and the governance level. Now, if we want to go back for a while, to the core topics of today and the actors and the players that speak today, the ARSINOE project, which is in Horizon 2020 funded project by the European Union, along with the TransformAr, Impetus, and REGILIENCE, are really, primary examples of innovation, collaboration, and systemic solution can accelerate climate adaptation. And this project, what is important, all these projects, and this is important really to highlight, they are not only just developing solutions, but they are testing solutions in real life settings. and they provide scalable and and adaptive and transferable strategies for resilience and sustainability. So these are the real initiatives that can pave the way for a climate water resilient water future. And I'm really delighted that all these projects can speak today and can showcase their experience after years of great efforts. Let me have one more minute time for giving a couple of announcements about two upcoming events. One is Water Market Europe that will happen in Girona in less than 2 weeks, and it is on the 27th of March. And it will be sponsored by the Multi-Source project, which is about advancing another-based solution for water smart cities, which has a strong connection also today of the ARSINOE and sister projects. And the registration is still open. You are welcome to participate. It will be in person only event. And then I have a special announcement for Water Knowledge Europe 2025. That will be in Warsaw this year, not in Brussels, from 13 to the 15 May 2025. And this is combined with the Blue Deal Conference. And we received the patronage of the EU presidency of Poland. And this represents, quite an important, it's a key milestone for shaping the water future in Europe and beyond. So registration will open soon. Stay tuned, and I hope that this event of today will enhance the dialogue and the collaboration within the project. We'll share the information at large, with the participants, and we're going to see and to look at the innovation that this project have been able to experience and to deepen across the past years. So I'm now happy to give the floor to Giannis Adamos, who will introduce the ARSINOE project, and then we'll hand over the floor to the other speakers. Giannis, welcome on board, and thank you so much for your contribution.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, Andrea, first of all for the invitation, for the nice organization, and we're all very happy to be here today. ARSINOE, even in the first minutes of this webinar, I think we all listen to keywords, starting from Vanessa, talking about, for example, action. Then Andrea very nicely described and said a few words about all these processes that we followed in all these projects. So indeed, it seems that what we need to do is, or maybe we're late and we should have started before, is take action. So what we do exactly in ARSINOE all these years, now we are starting the last semester of the project. So 3.5 years now we have developed a lot of innovations coming from the case studies. So this is important that we do have, as Andrea mentioned before, we started the process of working, that was important, with stakeholders. In fact, we created all these pathways to conclude to innovations that can be implemented in actual case studies. And so here you can see a lot of innovations. Many of them are ready to be for commercial exploitation. Yes, indeed, we are a large group of people that we are, let's say, scientists. So we do have nice results, and our case studies today will show all these nice results. But exactly, I think the process with what is important is that we managed, and we are now running the last semester, as I said. So we're going to test, implement all these innovations. We're going to have hopefully fruitful results that can be used in other cases. And so the idea, the goal is here to, let's say, to have a portfolio of solutions that can be implemented by other regions, having, of course, similar, first of all, characteristics, but also having to deal all these case studies, all these regions with similar, let's say, stresses in their regions. So in ARSINOE, we do work, as you can see, in 9 case studies, which are diverse, as we say, in terms of content, but also in terms of biogeographical regions. Really challenging case studies, as you will see today. First of all, we have 3 transboundary case studies. We have all this, as you can see, different places around Europe. So I would like just to make a very short, my colleagues will present in detail these case studies that we selected for today, 5 of them. And you can see here, let's say, the main challenges. That's why we selected to focus more on water stresses, let's say, water management, starting from Germany and the main river basin here. So as you can see, we focused a lot on an important issue that we need to start from, which is nexus governance, as we call it. And we tried to have to analyze the needs of the stakeholders, the local people, the regions, and see what kind of climate services, as we say, we can provide to the region. Going to another challenging case study, which is the Prespa Ohrid Lakes, also a transboundary case study. Here, as you can see, we did, and we are keeping doing a lot of work in modeling, applying systems dynamics modeling, and we're going to produce a high also can be, let's say, adapted by other case studies. Going to the Canary Islands, starting from, from scratch, I would say that this is due to the geography, the climate, also challenges that we had to deal with here. We also managed, as you can see, to do a lot of work. We are very happy to have already implemented specific innovations and do have some first results that my colleagues will present today. Going to southern Denmark, here also, as you can see, we are dealing with flooding, drought, and what we are trying to do, as in almost all case studies, is to start planning or taking into account resilience needs, for example, and definitely going towards sustainability, to reach sustainability. Here, and let's say an example is, as you can see, highlighted that we have developed artificial intelligence-based extreme sea level statistics, which is also important, as you will see in detail in a few minutes. And lastly, we're going to England. Here you can see also Torbay Devon regions. I would say the key word here is that we did a lot of work, was critical infrastructure, to identify exactly and work on this, let's say, on this term, and try to downscale, let's say, what is needed for this region. But right after, so cascading failure and failure and let's say effects, which are, as you will see, of course, very important also. We may focus on specific, let's say, events or stresses. However, it seems, and we have proven that, let's say, scientifically, that there are a lot of cascading, let's say, effects that we need to take into consideration. So that was a very brief presentation of ARSINOE, and I'm very happy that we have today colleagues and representatives, let's say, from 5, as I said, case studies. Starting from the German, let's say, case study, which is the main river basin. So I would like to give the floor to my colleague Marion. Hello, Marion. And we're ready and happy to listen to you.
Thank you very much, and good morning from me as well. I hope you can see my screen now. I will be talking about the case study 3 in the ARSINOE project, which addresses climate change impacts in the Main River Basin. We are part of this case study, which is led by LMU Munich and supported by VKU, the German Association for Public Utilities, but also University of Tours and DTU in Denmark. Case studies, as Janice just said, and addressing water challenges in this region in northern Bavaria. The Main River Basin, which you can see in the most northern part of this dark gray map here on the slide, is Bavaria's warmest and most arid climate region already, and it's very strongly impacted by climate change. And especially water challenges projected to increase in the future. So there's already some water scarcity throughout the year and also some competition and social conflict about who gets which water to use. And changes in precipitation and also increases in temperatures together with land use change are really increasing those challenges. The region itself is quite large. So the Main is one of the largest tributaries to the Rhine and over 400 kilometers long. And the region itself is characterized by a lot of very specialized agriculture, by several big urban centers, which you might know. There is quite a bit of industry there as well, and it's also a region that's known for tourism and forestry and the like. So together, those land use changes caused by climate change, but also the energy transition, create several challenges together with climate change, mainly that rivers and groundwater are at risk for the water quantity that can be found there, but also water quality changes. There is some question about maintaining ecosystem services, but also certain resource uses like city utility operations, including the provision of drinking water to the population at an acceptable cost and acceptable effort. So therefore, within our case study, we felt that this region is at risk of being pushed beyond the resilience threshold, and to become more resilient, it needs different strategies for dealing with resources, especially with water. So we wanted to add to the understanding of how climate change impacts this region, and together with stakeholders from the region, develop new means of managing resources. One way in which we did that is by setting up a living lab, because we wanted to have a stakeholder-driven approach to resource management, and together with a large variety of stakeholders from different sectors, so from utility operations, from agriculture, from forestry, from state administrative bodies, but also from environmental NGOs, we created this joint problem understanding and found that climate change is already significantly impacting the region, and that many of the problems faced in the region are interlinked and interconnected, but adaptation strategies that are starting to be implemented are often existing in parallel to one another, and that synergies are not being used. So to address this issue, we formulated a vision of a climate resilience region, and then also talked about innovation pathways and different ways of addressing the impacts of climate change in the region. And as a nice side effect, we created a very strong network, or a coalition of the willing, if you will, who are really engaged in climate change and addressing the risks in the region now. Of course, unfortunately, there were certain gaps within our innovation pathways, which we could then address in the open tenders for innovation, which took support 2 of the projects that were submitted for the open tenders. One is a tap water-friendly cycling route, which aims at improving access to drinking water for the general public, but also aims at educating people from the region about the risks that are existing, about water scarcity, about where their drinking water comes from and how they can protect it. So they address this very social element, educational element. And the other innovation we can support is Big Data, which is a more scientific project, estimating the water needs for irrigation in the region over the coming years in different climate scenarios. And this is not only important because irrigation is increasingly popular or interesting to many in the agricultural sector in the region, but also because this and by transferring it to our case study, we're also learning about how different solutions across regions and what has to be done to adapt them to a different setting in different European countries. And to conclude, I know that my time's nearly up. I'd like to highlight some of the points we have learned about systemic in those case studies. And one of the main points was that as a Wi-Fi Nexus case study, we found that many aren't familiar with this systemic way of thinking about water and resilience. But we found that it's very interesting, not only to the stakeholders, but also very inspiring, in that it enables solutions that are more holistic and also more sustainable than thinking within sector boundaries. So it is our view that a systemic perspective, not only through projects, but maybe also through policies or through river basin management plans, we could significantly boost the resilience of the region. Also, we need new alliances across disciplines and sectors. And we have to use this very, very large toolbox that we have of technological solutions, of nature-based solutions, but also of social and governance solutions to boost the resilience of these very vulnerable regions. And we need to act now because, as one of the stakeholders in one of our workshops said, climate change is progressing so quickly that we're struggling to keep pace. And we have to act now, so we have time for a bit of trial and error, for tweaking our solutions, and so that a good life is possible in our region now and in the future. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Marion. To mention, of course, my mistake. Thanks a lot to Ms. Marion Silke, coming from, as we said, from the German Association of Local Public Utilities, working very close with Professor Alf Ludwig from the Ludwig Maximilian University of Munich. So thanks a lot. Let's move now to the next case study, which is the Ohrid and Prespa Lakes. And I would like to give the floor to Ms. Diana Likar, coming from the Institute for Research in Environment, Civil Engineering and Energy in North Macedonia.
Yeah.
Diana, the floor is
Thank you, Yanis. Good morning, everyone. In Ohrid and in case study 4 of the project ARSINOE, we explored improving adaptiveness to water scarcity induced by climate change in the transboundary area of Ohrid and Prespa Lakes. Participating partners were IEC Greece and leader from the project. About the Ohrid and Prespa Lakes, background of the lakes is that they are among the oldest lakes in Europe of tectonic origin, over 2 million years old. They forming a natural hydraulic phenomena of connection through groundwater discharge from the upstream Prespa Lake towards the downstream 130 meters lower Ohrid Lake. The lakes are situated in a transboundary region of Western Balkans, and shared among 3 countries, Greece, North Macedonia, and Albania. They span over a 3,000 square kilometers area of watershed. They're within the most ecologically valuable, significant aquatic ecosystems in Europe, renowned for their endemic biodiversity and species, and also for their UNESCO protected natural heritage area from mid-century. The slide shows the disposition of the lakes, as well as dried out condition of the Prespa Lake, a recent photo, and still preserved natural and historical beauty of the Ohrid Lake. The key challenges we faced during this case study is first that water scarcity escalating by long and frequent droughts triggered by timely and quantitatively rescheduled precipitations and temperatures is becoming a racing trend in the region. Therefore, all sectors of environment, society, and economy have been jeopardized in their survival, operation, and development. Climate change pressures, along with demographic trends and economic growth, induce impacts and they raise some competing demands and new patterns of water use among sectors that require complex management decisions. The most effective way of responding to these new challenges in front of the water resources, sustainable long-term planning and management that we found in our case study is to deploy comprehensive and integrated analytical approaches for correct identification and setting of water issues that enable decision-making under deep uncertainty and include all affected sectors in consensual adaptation solutions. The main objective of the case study was to improve climate resilience of all sectors included related to water scarcity through a comprehensive innovative set of long-term planning solutions by providing fair allocation of adequate quantity and quality of water for all users, respecting their sustainable growth. Key systems that we addressed were environment, biodiversity ecosystems, society of all target groups, citizens, households, community partners, water management utilities, policy-making bodies, and traditional economy sectors present in this region: agriculture, fishery, tourism, industry, and hydropower sector. The innovative solutions that we developed, tested, and implemented started from integrated water management model in multi-sector coupled systems, which is a simulation and optimization modeling tool for evaluation of a long-term complex hydro system stability and balance under superposed climate and socioeconomic scenarios across coupled sectors of users. This modeling tool integrates hydrological processes, climate changes, and use of water in all sectors at the hydrological unit scale, and consists of analytical simulation and planning components. The main results consist of suggested allocation of water per users and recommendation of optimized adaptation. That's why this model is called integrated, because it integrates water natural supply and water demand side, water resilience assessment, and adaptation strategies as well, and integrates all involved sectors of water users into consensual optimized solutions. The system innovation approach led by Work Package 2 was applied in this case study as well as it was in all others. And here it had a specific dimension and outputs as it was in a transboundary region and was applied in 3 consecutive phases of national and international stakeholder. We applied open tender solutions, and we selected and implemented 2 technological and societal innovations. One is Water for All, applied in North Macedonian part of the watershed, and the other is Water Resilience System, applied in Albanian part of the watershed. Both innovations are complementary, provide real-time information on specific water body status with open source data for all stakeholders, and as such they will be of use for all stakeholders in the 3 countries, providing them with informed decision making. The main findings were that both lakes will be affected by the climate changes. Decrease of water level will be expected at Prespa Lake, while at Ohrid Lake, regulated discharge will have to be more will lead to decrease of hydropower generation. The most affected sectors will be environment, agriculture, and energy sectors. While trade-offs have been identified among sectors, no transboundary issues have been identified, nor are expected in the future, considering all awareness and commitment of the parties. In the summary of main outcomes, deployment of ARSINOE innovative approach led to a comprehensive framework of climate adaptive regional water management and had a great impact on local communities, economies, and ecosystems to raise awareness of their importance, roles, of their responsibilities in the sustainable water management. What we learned from this case study is that integrated approach, its methods and system models, leveraged by engagement of community, the most effective way of providing a long-term, reliable, balanced, and coordinated adaptiveness of all sectors to potential water scarcity, increased capacity, and new established operation patterns, enhanced stakeholders to be proactive in running more sustainable climate management for future generations. Thank you for attention.
Diana, all also, as you just ended. Let's move now, please, to Spain and welcome my colleague, Dr. Noelia Cruz Perez. We're going to see what is happening in the Canary Islands. Noelia is a member of the University of La Laguna in Tenerife, Spain. Noelia, welcome. The floor is yours, and thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Janice. Morning. Good morning to all of you. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Now, okay, perfect. Well, my name is Noelia Cruz, and I'm part of the team for the case study Canary Islands, Spain, in ARSINOE. Our main objective during the project has been to better understand the hydrogeological functioning of the two islands under study, La Palma and El Hierro, with a particular focus on the island of La Palma, since when the project started, also the eruption in La Palma occurred, and it was very interesting for us to study the effect of the eruption in the hydrogeologics. Here you can see better La Palma and El Hierro, and also all the Canary Islands, since we are 7 islands in total. And we have studied, we have put the focus on La Palma and El Hierro, as I was saying. And the goal is to create easily replicable hydrogeological models for other Canary Islands, involving gathering accurate data, building robust models, and documenting the process to be able to train local experts to ensure sustainable water resource management through the region. So in order to obtain our main objective, that was to better understand how the hydrogeologics work in these islands, we have used several input data, like geological maps, also information from our own installed sensors, and the historical data from the Island Water Council. And our main expected outcome was to reliably estimate the natural recharge of the aquifer. Here you can see the hydrogeological maps. The source is FESIC, which is also a partner in the case study. This has contributed very good to obtain our results. Also, previous publications, as you can see here, a book about the geology of the Canary Islands, since our origin is volcanic and it's very different from mainland. That's why we had to use specific studies about the island. Also, the water spots, which is a tool that also belongs to IGME-FESIC, as I was saying, a partner of the case study. And this has allowed to access information about the wells, the boreholes, and also the water galleries in both islands. Even if I'm only showing here El Hierro, we did the same for La Palma. With all this input data, we use GeoModeler to be able to as you can see here for El Hierro. This was the first time we had so reliable information about the aquifer and the behavior of the aquifer in the island, which is relevant for the Island Water Councils when they want to plan the water resources for the hydrogeological plans. Also, we have developed a lot of publications. They are all in Zenodo, where you can check what we've done for both La Palma and El Hierro. Also, as I was saying, in La Palma with an important focus on the eruption. And finally, through Work Package 5, we were able to do this amazing project with our innovator, FICLIMA, and it's been to create a Sigma Canarias platform. As you can see here, we have been able to obtain climatic data. It's the first downscaling that we have done in the island that is so precise, since the data has 100-meter resolution, and as we didn't have this data so accurate in the islands before our innovation, so we are very happy to have contributed this much to the region. And also the data is updated to the IPCC 6 report, and the main variables that we studied were precipitation, temperature, water balance, evapotranspiration. So this is very relevant also for the Island Water Council that can use this platform to the projections. and also what to expect about precipitation patterns in the islands. So I think through ARSINOE, thank you to the project, we have contributed with many innovations to the region, as I was saying, hydrological, and also now with the platform. And I think that's it. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Noelia. We will discuss in more detail in the minutes that we have right after. I mean, in the session closing. So shall we go, please, to Denmark and welcome Professor Martin Drews. Hello, Martin. The floor is yours, please. Nice. Martin, your microphone. Okay, your microphone, please. You're muted.
Sorry. Yes. Okay. Then welcome to Denmark. Not so nice weather as in the Canary Islands. Area around Esbjerg and Fanø and the Watton Sea, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, as some of you will know, an area that in recent years have been subject to water pressures from many different sites, not just storm surges, although one of the historical storm surges in this region many years ago killed, thousands and thousands of people, but also heavy rains and cloudbursts. And recently also summer droughts, which actually affects everything, the whole development, the sustainable development of this region. So this is really a region where water resilience needs to be built, but also a region where awareness of what to do and what to act from the citizens to the administrative levels is in very high demand. So in the context of the ARSINOE project, just like we've just heard from the different colleagues, we also developed a living lab focused on engaging different stakeholders from both the private sector, from the public sector, citizens, NGOs, in looking at a future, at a sustainable future for this region, and in particular for the urban areas around the main city, which is essentially the sort of economical nexus of this region. This case study was very model heavy, just like Noelia just said. So we developed a number of models I'm going to talk about in a moment. It also led to a number of spin-off activities that came out, and which will also be highlighted a little bit in the next speaker on looking at cascading failures, climate change impact on infrastructure, including water infrastructure, electricity infrastructure, and even over the course of the project, we realized, together with our stakeholders and the municipality, that this is really, really important and part of this holistic challenge of making the region water resilient. We did assessments. We also invoked innovators, just like we've heard here. In our case, we looked at systemic innovation in the social sense, finding out how different stakeholders can actually get in touch with the authorities and the planners. And finally, we carried out an integrated resilience assessment going across all different aspects of sustainability, both economics, technical, economic, and sort of environmental. So and this is one of those things I'm going to highlight here. So the overarching theme, just like any other here, was of course water smart strategies, climate adaptation, and our sort of workflow is sort of indicated here. So we followed a very traditional workflow with climate impact scenarios, but then we looked to be able to address the sort of holistic thing, a wide range of impact areas, from ecosystems and health to buildings and transport and industry and so on, to be able to balance all the different priorities in this. And on top of this, and this is what you will see here in the end, we actually also looked very much at the social impacts of flooding in this area, since this can very much affect the way people will make decisions. So some of these things we already have, but some of the sort of, I would say, three major contributions of ARSINOE to this whole framework was the development of an AI-based extreme sea level model to actually improve and decrease uncertainty, which is very important because it's huge in this area. So just highlight one of them, our integrated damage cost assessment tool. As already mentioned, it has 10 different sectors. It to get this entire picture, and in the end, gives you numbers and sort of and gives you a spatial layout of things and allows you to actually look at both synergies and also trade-offs of different strategies. And I'd like to exemplify this by just showing you one more this slide here. So on the left, you see Esbjerg, the central city. This is the harbor. The different colors indicate different severities of flooding. So you can see the harbor is always flooded in case of a 100-year event. As you go up and go into 2100, even vast parts of the inner city is flooded. This is sort of, I mean, of course, that gives rise to increasing amounts of damages. But what is shown on the equity plot in the middle is actually that we try to sort of correlate this with where people live and where people are vulnerable. So on top of this, we put a vulnerability indicator. In this case, it's essentially income. And all these places where you have the small squares along the coastline and inland is where severe flooding will actually hit residential areas where people live. And the different colors, in principle, here indicates whether they will hit people that are vulnerable or not so vulnerable. Another way of looking at it is to look at it over time. And in this curve, I ask you to look at the red curve. So this looks at the severity of different events and how this will scale over time. And so basically what you can see in all the red curves is that both in terms of flooded area, the affected people and the damages, they increase on the severity of the event. But you can also see, of course, here that it's not a linear increase. So in terms of finding out what sort of adaptation and where and how to do to protect the vulnerable groups, or in this case, not so wealthy groups, there's important information to be had from this level. And my last curve is just sort of unfolding this further. This is again the harbor and the central parts of Esbjerg. So one of the adaptations we investigated is something they're going to do right now. They're going to build a flood wall to protect all these people. And to the left here, you see 4 different, extreme sea level heights and how they will affect this sort of area. Of course, at a 5.2 meter sea level rise or sea level event goes far sort of inland. Now, if you build a seawall, as indicated by black, and also in the top area, to the right, you will have effect of protecting different peoples, different groups, different assets. And this is also what's highlighted underneath that figure, is that we can actually find more or less an optimal value for the height of the seawall in terms of protecting people, protecting assets, protecting infrastructure, and so on and so forth. And that's sort of the whole idea of our holistic analysis, to be able to test all these different solutions in a good way. And ARSINOE helped us to actually develop this and sort of achieve this. And the municipalities are very happy about this and would like to see it used even more in this municipality. And that concludes my speak. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Martin. Thank you very much. So let's end, this journey around Europe with UK, and I would like to welcome Professor Albert Chen, from the University of Exeter and in Torbay, Devon County. Hello, Albert. The floor is yours, please.
Thank you, Yannis. Good morning, everyone. My name is Albert Chen. I'm a professor at the Center for Water System at the University of Exeter, working with our colleagues at the Torbay Council and the West Country River Trust in this case study 8 for the Torbay and the Devon County. So for those who are not familiar with geographic location, so we are in the southwest of England. So that's in the Torbay County, Torbay and the Devon County, and that have been suffering a lot of historical events about flooding that's causing a various disruption to the community, to the infrastructures. That's why we're starting to look into why it's important to consider this case study. And also that's our environment agency, they analyze what is the risk for our community. For the baseline, we have this now already suffer a lot of intense rainfall and the sea stone surge, overtopping of the coastal flood. But for the future, so it's likely to become more severe. So by 2050, it's expected the intense rainfall is going to increase by 45%, and the sea level rise is expected to rise at 42 centimeters. That would is likely to cause more flooding problem in this community. And go even further, by 2070, the rainfall will be increasing, intensity will be increasing by 50%, and the sea level rise will continue to grow and up to 67 centimeter, and it could go further if we look into the further future, and which that will already, those flooding is already causing a lot of the damage to the properties, to the communities, and also disrupting the different critical infrastructure services, such as the road disruption, also the supply of those lifelines, such that it's very important for us to try to look into this case study. So what we're trying to look into this area is try to understand how is the likely of the flooding in this community, in these regions, and then to see what could be the impact, including those direct damage to the properties, also the impact to the critical infrastructure and the services, which will lead into some cascading failure, and that will have a broader effect for those people or vulnerable group whose property they are not flooded, but they will suffer a lot of inconvenience due to the flood disruption on the critical infrastructure, such that we would like and we implement different measures in order to enhance the resilience to our communities. So I'm going to give a little bit more detail about the approach we have in this case study. So we start to look into those climate and the weather and the environmental condition, combining with the different social economic situation. Those climate conditions coming from those work page 3, they've done this a lot of climate scenarios, and also we collect a lot of data with our case study stakeholders and also our other different sources in order to help us to have a better understanding what's the present and also the future conditions, and such that we will be able to put those conditions into our flood mapping to do the assessments of what could be the hazard for given scenarios for the present conditions and also for plausible future scenarios. And those is not only just one enough for us to analyze the extent of flooding. We want to know where could be the damage in the future, and how is the disruption to the critical infrastructure, so that we are doing this hazard impact assessment, looking into the property damage and also looking into the disruption to the critical infrastructure, including the road transportations, energy, water supply, and all different other activities that could happen and that's critical to our vulnerable community. That's we try to look into that, and in order to evaluate what could be the cascading failure once the road is not possible for the transportation. So how would this affect the people going to the hospital, require some assistance, or going to the other different service, and that could lead to the different cascading failure. That's what we're trying to identify. And as a result, we put all this information into a visualization dashboard created in the work package 4, and in order to communicate with our stakeholders. And through this living lab, we organize in this work page 2 in order to share this outcome with all these stakeholders and in the communities, and discuss with them what could be the interventions in order to help us to enhance the resilience. So we try to identify what could be the adaptation we could have, and then try to fit in back to our conditions for modeling, but also could be fit into the damage or hazard impact assessment to see how different intervention can enhance our protection to the people and can also enhance our resilience. So this becoming an iterative loop until we got more to protect those people in our case study area. So this is some illustrations or so far of some results. So here is some map of the flood condition due to the pluvial rainfall, and you can see some of the case on the screen that's showing different properties being affected. Also, the different critical infrastructure highlighted in different colors, the level of the disruption for those assets, such that how this would trigger this knock-on effect. And so look into how is the cascading failure for this in this area, and to find what would be climate resilience. We closely work with our case study stakeholders, and through this living lab, through the information displayed by visualization that coming from the modeling assessment result from different components. We also have these stakeholders try to co-develop what could be the solution for the short term and the long-term adaptations. So for the short term, we're using the digital twins to connect with the real-time observation of the weather situation, and also the forecast data to feed into the model in order to support our capacity to do the flood forecast, and such that we can also provide risk-based early warning. So it's not only the area could be flooded, but how would be the risk for different communities or different business could be affected, and they can adapt very quick crisis management or emergency response exercise to enhance their short-term protection or resilience. For the longer term, through this living lab discussion with the stakeholder, we are hoping we can achieve this planning for the future. What kind of strategy we are going to implement in the case study? What kind of intervention we can adapt to help us ourselves to better protect from the impact of the climate hazards. Although we won't be able to prevent all this or the hazard, but we will be able to operate this smoothly through this crisis conditions, and that we will be able to bounce back, which will lead into a better resilience for our communities. So I think that's all I want to present, and thank you very much for your listening. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Albert. Amazing as all case studies work. And we can see now results. This is important as we are running the last year of the project. So I will ask from the audience if they have any, let's say, questions, or if we have something in the chat. However, I would like to, let's say, to make a closing of this work and all these case studies that were presented today coming from ARSINOE. And maybe focusing, let's say, on some key words. First of all, I think it is clear, and we know that that in all these projects, especially those that, as we call them, the innovation projects. So we need, to have the background and then start working on new, let's say, things. I think it's clear that that's important, that all of us, I mean, we are, let's say, researchers or scientists, so it's clear that we do have which is important, in that we do have the skills, we do have the knowledge, and we do have, let's say, first of all, we want to do all these new things. So it's important that we can be, let's say, base our work on a series of innovative approaches. It's clear also that the key here approach needs to be holistic. But what it is also, I would say, important is that even from this 5 case studies, and we do have more today that we will present, that will be presented, that we see specific, let's say, challenges, specific needs, and now it's the time, let's say, how we can upskill, let's say, or upscale all these findings, all this work that has been done. For example, we start from special conditions, as we say. For example, you see UNESCO areas protected by UNESCO. So this means for us, especially those that we are engineers, that this means, in simple words, restrict. Let's say this, all these interventions that we want to make are in line, of course, with the protection of the nature, etc. So a challenge that is very important. Data, I would say, is another key word. So we need data. We need data. This is something that one of the reasons that we want, let's say, all these different people, all these different stakeholders, to have them on board and have this close collaboration. This is something that we did in ARSINOE, for example, starting from day one. So we started engaging all these people that are somehow involved in the specific case studies. Yes, indeed, ARSINOE and the rest projects, we are based on case studies because this makes us, let's say, makes it easier for us to implement new solutions and implement innovations, and then, as we say, move forward and replicate all these effective, let's say, and proven to be appropriate solutions. It's also important, I think, that we need to focus a lot on cascading effects. So all these years, 3.5 now, while starting from the vision, working on the mind, as we say. So for this, the background on which we started working, we were adding new items the first year, I think, and maybe a little later. So new challenges, new things need to address. You can see all these interconnections between different sectors, let's say. We may start, for example, investigating a flood or what we can do, but we easily conclude that this is not only flood, this is not only this situation that a city or an area in general may need to deal with. And it's also important, I think, another challenge, that I'm giving the floor to anyone that would like to share some views with us today, that we do have, that this is a situation, for example, in the Canary Islands, and we have been there, and so we're talking about, let's say, global challenges, for example, that we need to address. Already, Andrea had mentioned very well that are we talking about climate crisis? A lot of people, a lot of scientists say that maybe it is a water crisis that affects the rest of the sectors. So, for example, in the Canary Islands, I think it is clear, and while being there, we had this experience that we're talking about microclimate, so different conditions of atmosphere in different areas that are so close, let's say, geographically. And also in Athens, for example, that we're addressing and we're investigating extreme heat. We also have the well-known, let's say, phenomenon of the heat islands. So this means that we start from global challenges that affect, let's say, the whole population or the majority of the population. However, it seems that we also need to address specific conditions at specific regions. We'll be able to, of course, it's difficult, however, to somehow, let's say, make a typology of cases and see a portfolio of cases and be ready to all this work and all this money. In fact, we spend a lot of money, and this is also something that the Commission expects from us, that you use all these resources. So you need to make, to deliver, let's say, products or innovations that can be definitely adopted by other regions throughout the Europe. So in few, lastly, I need to say that we spoke a lot and we saw today a lot of that emphasis is given definitely on infrastructure, on assets, as we call them. However, we know very well that this is something that it is, let's say, internationally or globally mentioned, that we need to pay attention on that, is that we are talking, first of all, about humans, about people. So everything we do needs to be human-centered, working and having all these, let's say, all these advances in all these sectors. However, our main goal is to provide clean water, let's say, and a safe and environment for all of these people to live in. So it is our daily life, and this needs to be really handled by all of us. So that I would say is a sum up, but you see already in detail, I think, 5 case studies with different challenges and gaps. We also worked on that. So what is missing, what we can do. And I'm not sure, Isabella or Andrea, is there any, I don't see any question in chat. So I'm not sure if we have anyone from, let's say, the audience that would like to mention something or to write us a comment, and give the floor to my colleagues to respond if there is a specific question, or we can keep, let's say, the questions for the end of the session if you want, and have a general, let's say, discussion. So unless there is something that you would like to ask, please, you can probably raise your hand, I see, or you can write in chat, probably. I'm sorry about the technical, details. So if there isn't anything for the moment, I would like to give the word, as we say, back to Andrea and continue with the rest of the session. So thanks a lot to the speakers from ARSINOE, my colleagues, and thank you very much. And we will be here, of course, to listen to the rest projects and the rest case studies. Thanks, Andrea. The floor is yours.
Thank you. And to the ARSINOE project, it's really, impressing every time to see how the case studies have been able to go through such a deep experience. I have a consideration which is about the matter that it's clear that climate change, what that could be the causes, what that could be, the sparkles of the climate change, then in the end is really progressing quickly. And I have to say that nature is becoming quicker than humans. So, this is a point that we should consider, because sometimes we say, well, we can increase, the dimension of a wall, of a dike, of a dam, or whatsoever. But then we should consider that we adapt, but then we need also to mitigate. So, some food for thinking about, what should we do in terms, to align, the adaptation with the mitigation of climate change is also important to consider. And I don't know if there are questions in the chat. I don't see questions, but we can get that stage. And well, once again, thank you so much to the ARSINOE for the great contribution. And now, we pass the floor two sister projects, which is the TransformAr and the Impetus project. We start with TransformAr, and I'm really honored, to pass the floor to Chiara Trozzo. She's in the Euro-Mediterranean Center on climate change, and she will introduce the TransformAr project and the case studies that will speak on the TransformAr. Thank you so much, Chiara. You're welcome to take the floor.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you. And good morning again, everybody. Happy to be here. And I would also, on behalf of our coordinator, Jan Kuhl, who unfortunately today is not available to join the call, and also on behalf of the all TransformAr Consortium, I would really thank you, all the Water Europe colleagues, especially Isabella, Andrea, for inviting us in joining this event. So I'm trying to share the screen. Okay. So I will start, as Andrea mentioned, with a brief presentation of the TransformAr project, and then I will give the floor to our case studies. So TransformAr is part, of the cluster of the
Chiara,
green.
Chiara, sorry to interrupt you, but we see the presenter mode.
Okay,
okay, now it's fine. That's
okay,
okay.
now it's fine. Okay, sorry. Okay, so as mentioned, TransformAr is part of of the cluster of the Green Deal project supporting the EU climate adaptation. As you can see from the slide, we are here, with our all these projects, ARSINOE, Impetus, and Resilience that are with us. So TransformAr consortium is composed of 22 partners across 11 countries, as you can see from the map. So the general contribution ambition of TransformAr is for sure to contribute to the EU smarter and more dynamic climate adaptation through actionable adaptive solution, promoting actor-driven and impact-oriented adaptation pathways, and also of this transformation solution, as well as at the end carry out economic impact assessment, because if we really want to push for a transformational adaptation, we need to deliver clear impact and ensure this needed transformation. And actually, for sure, we would like also, I think that one of the key elements of this transformation is for sure to boost funding sources and investment. And this is why also in TransformAr we are looking at alternative funding mechanisms. How we want to achieve all these objectives. We are actually also TransformAr is in its final year, because the project is ended in September of this year. So we would like to we are pushing, or we are trying to push this transformational adaptation through the development, testing, and solution and pathways in 6 territories facing different impacts of climate change. So you can see here the 6 demonstrators all across Europe, and in a while you will hear more about the case study of West Country and the Galicia one. So just to conclude my brief presentation on the overall TransformAr project, as mentioned, we are implementing 21 solutions, which are quite diverse in terms of the, let's say, of their nature and scope, spanning from, let's say, technology. So let's say through, for example, cost sensor, digital monitoring of flow rates and water quality, on nature-based solutions, so such as, for example, in constructing wetlands, greeneries, green roofs, also promoting effective and inclusive governance, for example, through the development of resilience index, coastal contract involving a different range of stakeholders, as mentioned before, financing and insurance mechanisms, such as, for example, the creation of an adaptation fund and at local level, and for sure promoting behavioral change to really push for this transformation. So this is all from our side, from my side, in terms of, let's say, the general presentation of TransformAr. But now, also because I see that we are a little bit late of time, I will kindly, let's say, pass the floor to my two colleagues of the two TransformAr case studies, and I really thank them to be here and to join this webinar. So first one, as I mentioned, is the West Country case study. So I will pass the floor to my colleague Emily Windencombe from the West Country River Trust. So Emily, the floor is yours.
Hello, thank you, Chiara. And yeah, thank you everyone for giving us the opportunity to share our project with you. I will just share my presentation. I'm assuming it's in, is it in presentation mode or the wrong mode?
Still loading. It's still
Still loading.
Ah.
Oh, no, yes. Thanks.
Cool, great. I realized I'm on the wrong slide, so I'll just go back to the beginning.
Just that there's some the participants panel is still visible.
Oh, okay. Apologies. Is it acceptable if I minimize it? Is that okay?
That's fine.
Yeah. Great. Okay. So yeah, thank you very much, everyone. And I'm going to be providing an overview of the work we've been doing in the West Country demonstrator as part of the TransformAr project. So I'll try and be as quick as I can to not run over time too much, but I'll be covering 4 key. So firstly, I'll introduce some of the climate impacts and some of the context to the West Country region. Albert Chen from ARSINOE has already touched on some of the similar issues that we're tackling in TransformAr as in ARSINOE on that, but just to give you some context, I'll go into an overview of 2 of the TransformAr solutions we've implemented. I think we've implemented 5 in total, but in the interest of time, it's important to just focus on the highest impact ones. I'll give a little insight into the various actor networks and key community systems that are necessary for doing this kind of work and for making lasts and is sustainable is in Devon and Cornwall. So our demonstrator is in the southwest of the UK. We're focusing predominantly on these 2 main catchments called the Camel catchment and the Axe catchment. These catchments are both labelled as triple SIs, so sites of special scientific interest and special areas of conservation. So you'd think because of their, high ecological status that they'd be in good condition, but unfortunately both catchments are failing their water quality targets. So yeah, both are really struggling from multiple points of pushing, from agricultural mismanagement to wastewater treatment work impacts, and it leads to a range of water quality issues, including eutrophication and water scarcity increasingly in the Axe. So in order to tackle this in the West Country region, we've been developing through TransformAr a variety of bespoke nature-based solutions intended to help both catchments adapt to climate impacts, including drought and flooding, nutrient pollution and eutrophication. Currently, for the West Country region, we've got future climate scenarios predicting we're going to frequency of hotter, drier summers. With that, we're going to get more intensive and torrential downpours during the winter months, so a disproportionate pattern of rainfall, intensifying issues such as runoff, and we're going to have, you know, that sort of wetter winter far more often, in combination with further rises in sea levels around the coastline. Currently, the land use in both catchments I described are characterised by intensive agricultural practices. So the intensification of the projected climate impacts that we see. So because we've poor soil quality and a great extent of compaction in the area, that intensifies the likelihood of runoff during these high rainfall events. We don't have enough ponds or networks of water retention features in the landscape, which intensifies the likelihood of droughts during the summer. I've discussed intensive agriculture already, but we also have vulnerable communities with limited climate adaptation awareness and limited. So yeah, all of these will worsen the impacts we're projected to see already, leading to increased soil erosion, which will worsen the water pollution issues that already exist, increase flood events, create biodiversity loss through eutrophication and other climate impacts, threaten the safety and well-being of our local communities, and of course, therefore, threaten our local economies. So this is just to give you a slightly better insight into the Axe catchment. So you can see there are 4 main tributaries into the Axe. 2 of our solutions are situated along this tributary, the Kip Brook, which passes through, it's a very steep-sided catchment and it passes through a lot of agricultural land, so picking up a lot of pollution along the way. This image here just gives you an insight into the flooding that happened in the Axe. So you can see above this person's garden, there's a huge maize field, which downpours hit, the flooding passed through this village, and yeah, it caused a lot of damage to property and a lot of threat to people's well-being. This is the camel catchment, so the second of our sites. I'm going to be focusing on the solutions we've implemented in the Axe today, but just so that you can see geographically where it's located. The yellow border shows you where the SAC site is defined, and the red is the river itself and its tributaries. So what are we going to do, or what have we been doing about these various issues? In our demonstrator, we've been focusing on nature-based solutions, and we've been developing bespoke solutions for each site, so no 2 solutions are the same. Today, I'm going to be discussing the we've implemented at Snowdon Hill Farm and Chubbs Farm. It's worth mentioning here that the West Country Rivers Trust don't own any land, so all the land we work on is privately owned, which means we have to work with farmers, etc., to be able to implement solutions and try and find those win-wins that will mean they're keen to engage and also that we deliver good environmental outcomes. So at Snowdon Hill Farm, the images I've included here are the pathway for a lot of the runoff. I mean, unfortunately, this was taken on a very nice sunny day, so you can't see the extent of polluted water image, and it travels down the road as seen in the bottom image and then floods over this barrier through a drain into an adjacent field here before entering a waterway at the bottom. So this is just to give you a sense of the kind of pathway in the area, and this is an overview of the solution. So this area is predominantly typified by maize production, so a high risk crop. The white arrow on the right shows the pathway the water takes, as the same as the first images, and how it enters into this field here. The landowner who owns this field also owns the biodigesters that you can see on the right of the image, and I thought this was helpful to include because it kind of exemplifies one of the main drivers of agricultural pollution in the region. farmers are incentivized to produce maize for use in biofuel, biodigestate plants, then obviously that encourages the use of a crop that isn't really suitable for the area and leads to a lot of pollution. So we worked with this landowner to put in a series of scrapes and bunds. I'll show you a proper photograph of them in a minute, but just to give you a rough model. So when the water enters, initially it's got first opportunity to deposit all of that nutrient-rich sediment in this first sediment trap before the water is encouraged to flow into this series of scrapes. And then we've directed the flow in a meander out of the scrapes. So at in each scrape, more and more nutrient-rich sediment will be deposited, which will reduce the amount of nutrients carried in the water. And by the time it flows out of the bottom and into the watercourse, which is down here, it's a lot cleaner. And also this field is been taken out of arable completely. So this bottom area here will re-wet naturally over time, and hopefully create a little bit more habitat for biodiversity. So we completed these scrapes in October last year, and before we'd even fully connected them, you can see how much water they began to gather just from the rainfall. I'll see if I've got a slightly better image. So yeah, this is from the air. You can see kind of how it's already gathering, and over time, it's hoped that these bunds will vegetate and become rougher and more suitable for the task of disrupting the solution. And then our second site in the axe is this farm here. So on the satellite map, you can see the woodland running down the slope here and the series of fields meeting the woodland. All of the land above this woodland is intensive dairy farm. So there's a very small stream that runs down through the woodland, which carries a lot of intense nutrient-rich pollution from those dairy farms with high phosphate recorded by our phosphate monitors there. So what we've decided to do in the woodland below, in this area here, is implement a series of leaky dams. It's very hard to tell from the pictures, but you can see we've used the natural materials existing around the site to slow the flow of the water and to trap, again, nutrient-rich sediment, which can then be removed, diggers and spread elsewhere. And this just really prevents all of that polluted water from entering water systems further down. And also, as with the Snowdon Hill example, this will have a positive impact on natural flood management for the villages situated below these sites. It might seem negligible compared to the first image I showed, showing the extensive flooding in Newton Poppleford, but it just helps to support other NFM efforts in the area. This gives a very good number of different stakeholder groups involved in implementing this type of solution. So first of all, we've got ourselves. We have really, really good established relationships with farmers and landowners due to our program of ongoing farm advice, who we work with alongside contractors, you know, in a bespoke way to deliver the interventions. We also work with public and environmental authorities such as Natural England and the Environment Agency to verify the impact of the work we're doing to prove that it has a positive impact. We also work with businesses to try and develop further interest and appetite for investing in this sort of work, just to try and improve the overall resilience of the region and help them protect any assets from flooding. We also work with local government to achieve this. So, you know, in some cases we need planning permission. The environment teams in local governments are also responsible for delivering a lot of climate adaptation planning. So it's good that we work together with them. Obviously, we work with our funders, such as the European Commission, and a lot of our work with farmers and landowners is match funded through a lot of government subsidies for agriculture and sustainable agriculture in particular. So really, it's often very difficult to get farmers and landowners interested if they can't be paid for the intervention. So in the absence of grants from funders, we get through central government funding. So this just hopefully gives you a bit of a picture of the sort that you need to have in place in order to do this successfully, in order to build something that will be sustainable and will last. This graphic here just shows how our project kind of tessellates with other things in the area. So at the moment, there's a massive emphasis on using systems thinking for catchment partnerships that a lot of the outputs from the TransformAr project have tried to support. We've fed out a lot of our climate adaptation planning to catchment partnerships in the region, and we've also supported them through holding systems thinking workshops. We've also been supporting the emergence of natural capital marketplaces, which have been piloted in Devon and Cornwall through, again, offering time and joint workshops and staff time to just try and assess the barriers preventing those things from existing. And yeah, in the interest of time, I'll skip forward, but yeah, just to kind of show that we are integrated and we are looking in a very systemic way at the issues in Devon and Cornwall. So finally, we've been doing another piece of work, which is about assessing how bankable or investable climate adaptation interventions are in the region. So this is about trying to understand how interested investors are in coming forward with some money to do this sort of work again in the future, you know, what they need out of it. So to do this, we interviewed around 10 participants and we asked them lots of questions about how to improve the investment potential of climate adaptation projects. In total, they identified 49 barriers preventing them from investing in climate adaptation and 24 possible solutions. Obviously, I don't have time to go into all of them, but it was a really interesting exercise and a really valuable piece of work. We categorize their responses.
Sorry to interrupt you. If we can go to the end, because we need also to pass the floor to the case study and also to our colleagues from the Impetus project. Sorry, but we are
no, thank you. Sorry for overrunning. Yeah, just to say it was a really valuable piece of work and it gave us a lot of insight into the various issues faced by all different sectors. And yeah, we'll be producing a report summarizing that in July this year. The next steps and the final slide, I promise, is that we're holding a workshop on the 19th of March next week, all with local businesses in Cornwall to try and take some of this bankability work forward and look at how to finance climate adaptation in Cornwall and build more resilient businesses. And just to briefly mention that the legacy of TransformAr will be picked up by other projects that we've had funded through other sources at WRT, namely the RAP project, the West Country Water Resources Group, and bespoke NFM work that we're developing alongside agri-food businesses. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you for this quite exhaustive overview. Are carrying out in the West Country. And now I will pass the floor to our second TransformAr demonstrator, so the Galicia one. And I'm honored to have here with us Amaya Soto from the SETMAR Foundation. So Amaya, the floor is yours, and I kindly ask you to stay in the time because we are already late. Thank you.
Understand. Thank you, Chiara. And thank you also ARSINOE colleagues for the invitation. Can you see my screen?
Yes, clear. Please go ahead.
Okay. Just I have some issues with the camera. It looks like maybe I come from other planet. I'm assure you I'm in Spain, Galicia, by the sea, and happy to share with you our experience in the Galicia demonstrator within TransformAr. We focused on adaptation, on adapting mussel aquaculture and clam culture, or also shell fishing on food, to challenges induced by climate change. As a bit of background, these sectors were selected due to its significant role in the regional economy and its vulnerability to environmental shifts. As such, for example, changes in oceanographic and substrate conditions, habitat alteration because of temperature and salinity fluctuations, damage to productive and coastal structures, and proliferation of harmful algal blooms, among others. Well, to face this challenge, we start selecting key stakeholders. We are from SETMAR, and we team with the Vigo University and also the Marine Research Institute from CSIC in Spain. And we start selecting key stakeholders to discuss about climate challenge risk in the sector, their perception, and possible pathways and solutions. After this work, we involve around 60 organizations from the 5 helix approach, including all different administration, scientific, sectoral stakeholders, and altogether identified and selected 18 solutions in various environments as governance, communication and awareness, technical and engineering solutions, nature-based approach, and also research and innovation. Then, as the rest of demonstrators in TransformAr, we work in an action plan. Here we select indicators, and well, we have a look at all the solutions to see the urgency, relevance, viability, the development status of the proposed measures, and the socio-environmental acceptance. And working this action plan, we selected 6 operational objectives and 34 adaptation actions for the Galician region in these two sectors. In parallel, we work in 3 solutions. These solutions were included, of course, in the measures that we see for the action plan, and for strategic and knowledge-based co-management of mussel and clam community systems. I'm going to very briefly show you the 3 of them to try to keep on time. The first one is the mussel RAF monitoring, and this means to include that to sensorize the mussel RAF, which is this kind of a structure where the mussels are raw, and it consists on a real-time monitoring of environmental conditions and production parameters. Then we work also on a visor, on a kind of web to make this data accessible. It was developed by CETMAR, and there are already some interest of the sector and the administration as well to continue monitoring and using this kind of structure. Then the second solution tested in a Galician demonstrator was the Resilient Index, which is a strategic tool, which is a mathematical model that assesses the adaptation capacity of the operating processes to the effects of the climate change. I mean, in other words, it resembles a thorough health assessment for adaptation capacity, considering risk scenarios and resilient factors within productive processes. After obtaining the resilience index for the mussel sector, it was suggested as a strategic roadmap with ideas on how to improve the index, the result. It was developed by a group from Vigo University called REDE. And finally, the Vigo University, also the Geoma group, also is a solution, we call it INTERM, which is an interdisciplinary monitoring to improve the understanding of sediment dynamics, ecosystem substrate stability, and the response to climate change. There were a selection of the sampling areas, the data acquisition, and then morphodynamic modeling to understand what is going on with the sediments in relation with climate. Final conclusions, well, there were a lot. There is a lot of information available, but we selected some key points for this meeting today because we see in line also with other ARSINOE colleagues and presentations and case studies that there's be a change in perception, and now marine monitoring is seen as an ally for daily management. Also, the availability of data and as access to knowledge is clear that empower stakeholders to make informed decisions regarding aquaculture operations, resource management, and adaptation strategies. And it's essential to provide viable innovative techniques and tools to test hypotheses for adapting to the challenges faced by these sectors, and they were viable. That it's not only always guaranteed that you can succeed with these solutions in a harsh marine environment. Also, as you said before, the human component is key. Stakeholders' involvement fosters collaboration, exchange, and capacity building within the sector, and lays the foundation for future initiatives aimed at promoting sustainability and resilience. Finally, we see that there are positive repercussions in the design and effectivity of contingency plans for emergencies caused by the effects of climate change. So to align with, I think it was Marion from ARSINOE that said that immediate action is necessary, and I will add not fragmented, but continuous and coordinated. So this is all from our side. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amaya. Thank you, Amaya, for this presentation of the work under the Galicia demonstrator. So I'm going now to, let's say, to close the TransformAr session, and also for the sake of the time, I will directly pass the floor to my colleague Anna Arpke from the Impetus project, so to start also the Impetus session. Anna, the floor is yours.
Hi, good morning. Thank you very much, Chiara, for the transfer, and also thank you to ARSINOE for the invitation to join. I'm just going to share my screen very, very quickly, and I hope it goes well. So I'll try not to rush through. Can you see? Okay. I'll try not to rush through so as to give all of us the same chance. Okay, are you seeing the presentation screen, or are you seeing my screen?
It's in presentation mode. It's perfect.
Okay, great. Good, so, oops, sorry. So very quickly, just to tie it in with the water theme, climate change and water, what is the challenge? Obviously, we don't need to tell you this. It amplifies all the existing challenges in terms of supply quality and management. And there's an urgency for systemic and interdisciplinary solutions to ensure resilience and also adaptation. Moving on to Impetus. So the aim of Impetus is to contribute to the climate change adaptation by doing completions packages. The focus is, well, it's a very broad focus. I wouldn't even say it's focus. It's water, energy, agriculture, coastal resilience, urban planning, biodiversity. We focus very much on inter and transdisciplinarity, as is the nature of European projects. So we are researching into providing digital tools or data for digital tools and processes, but it is human-centered, and we work with demo-side stakeholders to co-create solutions. And from that, we also derive policy recommendations, both for businesses, but also at EU level. But most importantly, the transdisciplinary aspect is to empower regional stakeholders with knowledge and tools, and also the space to go between our findings and recommendations and what the European agenda then. So this is just a very quick overview of our project goals. I'm not going to go through this in detail. You will be provided with a PowerPoint anyway, so you can look through it. Also, our website, obviously, it is down here, climateimpetus.eu. But it's about developing and validating a framework for climate change adaptation. It's about empowering citizens and societal actors, accelerate the production of innovation packages and adaptation pathways using methodological, technological governance, awareness, and other financial and economic pathway components. And we want to root it in the knowledge held by stakeholders at the regional level, at demo site level, as a basis for resilience. And the RKBs, which will be described in detail, are a space where stakeholders gather to co-create, demonstrate, monitor, and evaluate the adaptation pathways and the solutions we provide them. These are just the work packages. So all these things that I just detailed are divided up in 8 work packages. It's about engaging the digital aspect, creating tools, testing the tools, having adaptation pathways packaged up, and then also ensuring that the impact is really amplified in terms of policy finance and investment. And then obviously there's also collaboration and dissemination, the visibility aspect, which also targets not only the general public, as is the role of these communication and dissemination work packages, but also engage the stakeholders. This is just a quick overview of this transdisciplinary approach. So we have the digital and human dimension, as I described, and this is how it's broken up through the different work packages. We have the co-creation, decision-making, and learning, and they all feed into each other. It's quite a complex web, but we are getting the hang of it now. So 6 months before project end, we are on time, I would say. Some of the things some developments at demo site level are a bit delayed, but I think we're doing pretty well despite all of that. So we have a lot of tools online. I will get to that in the following slides. These are our 7 demo sites. We have one in coastal region Catalonia, Valle dei Laghi in Italy for the mountains, Mediterranean demo site in Attica, Greece, the continental demo site in Berlin, the Atlantic for Netherlands, Reserve Boreal demo site in Latvia, and then finally we have the Arctic and Tromsø Finnmark in Norway. This is just how everything kind of ties in together. Basically just a sideways view of what I showed you earlier from the bottom up. But yeah, it is an ambitious project, as are ARSINOE and TransformAr, and we're trying to really get get the products and fulfill our obligations. This is from a stakeholder's perspective. We have a multi-sided platform. We have regional RKB, so these are the resilience knowledge boosters. We have local and regional solutions. This is just a quick overview of our main results. So we have quite a few results, and it's actually the highlights here. It's difficult to pick or pinpoint achievements because we have quite a broad variety of solutions and packages, but yeah, we have reached a lot of stakeholders in the demo sites, and despite stakeholder fatigue, we are managing to get good results with them and also co-create with them meaningful inputs. So now, before I introduce my colleagues, in general terms, we are working in the context of water resilience, water quantity solutions, but also water quality solutions, and also equity, affordability, and investment, strengthening infrastructure, also contributing ideas towards urban development, upgrading wastewater treatment and advanced purification, safeguarding access to safe and adequate water supply, fair pricing, and supporting businesses, especially at the regional level or the local level, to adapt to the emerging challenges regarding water. These are my colleagues from the demo sites that address the local risks, so water scarcity, floods, in particular coastal floods, erosion, sea level rise, and their impact. And as I said, it is a stakeholder-driven climate adaptation project. And in the following, my colleagues, Queralt Plana from the Catalan Coast demo site and Bundle 1 lead is going to present the Catalan Coast case study. Nasrin Hacke from Berlin demo site, who's also the Work Package 4 lead, and the Bundle 2 lead is going to present the activities in the Berlin demo site. And last but not least, Valentina D'Alonso from the Mountainous demo site, who's also the Bundle 4 lead. She will present the work in Valle dei Laghi. So there you go. I'm happy to present you with Queralt Plana. Okay.
Okay, I hope that you can see the presentation.
Yes,
I will briefly summarize all the tasks that have been carried out in the Catalan demo site in the northeast of Spain related to water management and how we can improve the resilience of the water systems in Catalonia. Also, I would like to stress here that despite I'm going to present the technical part, all the tasks have been developed jointly with the Catalan Office of Climate Change as partners of the project, and also some stakeholder sessions have been done on the way of developing and implementing those tasks. So just to start, I would like to remark the climate change impacts on the Catalan coast, which the first one is the sea level rise that it implies like a risk on flooding and saline intrusion. And also we have been experiencing an increasing frequency and intensity of marine storms. Despite we can consider that this is a climate impact, we already have been affected for that. Also, water scarcity is a chronic problem in Catalonia, and it can be also aggravated by climate change. And the last but not least, the increased precipitation irregularity and all this precipitation and the related damage. So the solutions that have been deployed within the demo site to face those climate impacts, the first one is they increase the water availability and quality by using hybrid decentralized systems for water management. The second one is the adaptation of sea level rise and marine storms by enhancing river sediment transport to the coast. Also implementing multifunctional wetlands and some sand dune restoration and monitoring methods, which I'm not going to present today. And finally, to assess the resilience of drinking water treatment plants with respect of the increase of pathogen and algal blooms. So to start, multifunctional wetlands with the objective to improve agriculture wastewater implemented on rice fields. So the goal is to treat the wastewater from these rice fields before we can bring back or reject this used water back to the environment. So in installing these constructed wetlands, we can first remove some pesticides, herbicides, and also some nutrients before we can reject this water to the environment. So we can protect the environment in that sense, and we can increase the water reuse for other irrigation purposes. The second solution is also the centralized system for water reclamation on a campsite, so we can reuse the treated wastewater within the campsite, like for trees and plants irrigation, street cleaning, and also for agriculture. And we are aligned with the new directive, European directive published in 2020, and also the brand new legislation, which is a Real Decreto in Spain for water reuse. So now we have a pilot plan installed, and we can achieve like good results, meeting the regulations goals. Then also we have another solution, which is watershed management for coastal protection, which is allowing to manage jointly the river plus the irrigation channels on Ebro Delta to compensate the sediments that the river is not bringing, despite because of the management of the river and also because of the climate change. Graphics below, if we have like some deviations to provide water to the channels, and if when we open the doors, we see that the mass flow rate of these sediments can decrease, which you can see that on the right graph. And another solution is related to combined sewer overflows during severe episodes of storms, when we need to through some wastewater combined with rainwater when the wastewater treatment plant is full and it's collapsed because of these severe episodes. And this overflow can affect some basin areas, so we have developed a model that we can estimate the risk associated to this overflow, and we can determine, according to the weather forecast and with this combined sewer overflow predictive model, and combined with a risk model, we can estimate the affected areas and when citizens can enjoy again the basin on this area. So this is related to water management, but also the risk associated for humans while using the area. And the last but not least, related to algal blooms. We have been experiencing that due to high temperatures and also the drought period that we are experiencing, we observe this algal blooms frequency, which is also increasing, and we have developed a tool to increase drinking water treatment plants' resilience in front of these algal blooms and being more preventive and implement preventive strategies to avoid or reduce these algal blooms. And here you can see the tool that as an indicator and to let aware the water operators and water managers when there's some risk related to affect the drinking water quality. Thank you, and I will leave the floor to Nasrin to present the German demo site.
Thank you. Just going to quickly share my screen. I hope you can see it all. Just quickly. Okay, yes. Hello, everyone. I'm going to present local solutions for a resilient water future in Berlin, the capital of Germany. Berlin is struggling with water scarcity, but why exactly water scarcity? There is a saying in German, which loosely translated means Berlin has plenty water bodies, but little water. And that's exactly what we can also see in this map, at least that there's plenty of water bodies. But let's get down to the situation and facts to also better understand the saying. Berlin obtains its drinking water from local water resources, which are on the one hand bank filtration, which is basically river water pumped and then filtered by sediments on its way to the wells, which are located along the shoreline, and natural groundwater. The water in the rivers is a mixture of natural river water and treated wastewater. This map here shows not only the surface water bodies, but also the locations of the waterworks and the wastewater treatment plants. And all this leads in the end to a semi-closed water cycle in Berlin. Climate change also causes, of course, rising temperatures in Berlin, but also changed precipitation patterns, resulting in the end in lower river water levels and reduced natural groundwater recharge. This in turn creates both quantitative and qualitative challenges for the drinking water supply. And that's also what you can see in this figure. So we have longer droughts and changed precipitation patterns due to the climate change. We have a higher water demand due to population growth, and because of that, also more wastewater. And there is less inflow to the river Spree due to mining stops close to the city and all this leads in the end to a decreasing water quality. And within Impetus, we are using different models to investigate and evaluate in the end the impact of climate change on this water cycle. There is one model which calculates the impact of changed shares of treated wastewater on the water quality in the rivers. Then there's another model, or with another model in the end, the impact of stormwater runoff on the river water quality is investigated. This is the dynamic model, or it is a dynamic model because the goal is here to implement at the end the results of the other models into this one. And last but not least, a groundwater model, which focuses on the impact of changed groundwater recharge values and pumping rates on the share of bank filtrate. I want to give you a peek into the Berlin water model. It is very detailed and shows basically the water cycle in a conceptual way. So we have in blue our surface water bodies, the lakes, the rivers are here in white. Then we have, of course, the discharge of the wastewater treatment plants, the discharge of the stormwater runoff, inflows, artificial groundwater recharge as well, and of course the abstraction of groundwater due to waterworks. And I'd like to take a minute or two to show some results, however, only results from this groundwater modeling today. Here you can see the groundwater model we used in FIFLOW. The model we are using is only a part of Berlin, as a holistic and functioning model is not available yet. So the situation is as follows. Due to climate change, we have less groundwater recharge, right? So we have to increase the share of bank filtrate, at least that's the idea, to have enough water in the end for the drinking water production. Now, basically, we have to answer the following questions. Where to increase the share of bank filtrate? And to answer this question, we first need to answer the questions, how big is actually the share of bank filtrate currently? And how is the variability? And in the end, also, what's the impact of the changed groundwater recharge and changed pumping rates? And for this, we have calculated more than 20 different scenarios with many different values. And here's only a sneak into the results. So what we can see are two different figures. We have the extraction rates on the x-axis and the share of bank filtrate on the y-axis for two different groundwater recharge values, namely 107 millimeters per year and 87 millimeters per year. And the different points in these two figures are literature lab values, but also values from calculated scenarios. So it's a mixture. And what we did is that we grouped these values, as you can see, with these different colors and derived different functions from it. And we see also that, for example, the wells in the orange group have less share of bank filtrate than the wells of the green or purple group. So the basic statement we can derive from these figures is that a reduced groundwater recharge leads to a higher share of bank filtrate. So, and that's better to see when we look at these circles here. For example, when we have an extraction rate of 60,000 cubic meters per day, then our share of bank filtrate is, let's say, around 20%. In the scenario with a groundwater recharge of 107 millimeters per year, and it's higher with when we have a groundwater recharge of only 87 millimeters per year. We can also make a statement about the catchment sizes. It's not shown here, but here on this one, you just have to believe me that the lower the groundwater recharge as well, the higher the catchment has to be in the end to produce the same amount of water. I guess that's quite reasonable. And this again, leads me already, to the conclusion. So, which is that with our model results, we are contributing in the end to the master plan water. The master plan water is a midterm to long-term future strategy plan for the city of Berlin. Its overall goal is, of course, to secure drinking water supply, as I said in the beginning, quantitatively and qualitatively. It contains 32 different interventions and options for actions on various levels, which you can also see here on the right-hand side. And it's, of course, not a static document. It's quite, it's a document, people work continuously on it. And within Impetus, we are supporting and advancing this Berlin strategy for mitigation of water challenges by investigating the impact of the climate change on different interventions, like, for example, to increase the share of bank filtrate. And I guess I stayed in time, and that's it from my side. Thank you. And I think I will, my colleague Valentina will continue now.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here today. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Let me know if you see the right screen. So yes, I'm going to present you a solution that we developed for the demo site, the mountain demo site within the Impetus project. And in particular, I'm talking about a decision support system for a more sustainable and integrated management of water. As Anna said before, we are in Impetus, we are different demo sites that also represent different biogeographical regions. And for the mountain demo site, the Valle dei Laghi is the place, and so we are also addressing, let's say, issues that could be example for other mountainous region in Italy, but also in Europe. So the valley is located in the Alps, in the northeast of Italy, within the province of Trento. Is a characteristic alpine valley with a lot of lakes and rivers, but is still the problem of water management is really urgent, and the complexity of the morphology of the valley makes the water management particularly challenging, especially because there are different concurrent water uses, and mainly they are irrigation for vineyards. This is, let's say, also a quite famous place for winemaking. Then there is the energy production from the hydropower and the civil needs, let's say, of water for drinking water and other civil usages. So why climate change adaptation is also an urgent need in mountainous areas. As we know, mountains are recognized to be an hotspot for the climate change impact. So there is this needs to increase the resilience of the communities, but also to keep an eye, to pay attention to the ecosystem that are, let's say, and ecosystem services that are provided by different, let's say, natural features. And so adaptation in mountainous areas are mainly adaptation options and measures are mainly related to water management, as we are discussing today, but also agriculture and tourism sectors. So what we are doing in Impetus in the Valley, we are developing this decision support system. So it's a digital tool that integrates different information layers and wants to enhance a more sustainable and integrated water management, not only at the level of the valley, but also at the broader level, so of the province and of the region. And this tool employs different data like hydrological models, satellite data, and climate forecast. And the final aim is really to support the decision makers in designing and developing medium and long-term water management strategies. So the tool is composed by different parts. The backend of the tool is based on a digital twin of the valley developed by a partner of our demo site. That there is this visualization dashboard, so a user-friendly platform where the users can interact with the tool. And a particular, let's say, aspect of the work that we have been doing within Impetus is that we conduct a lot of workshops and bilateral meetings with key stakeholders at different levels. So from the municipalities of the valley to the province and also to the basin authorities to collect their needs, their requirements, and also to exchange idea on how to develop this tool to be really useful, and also to validate the features and the functionalities that are being developed for this decision support system. A particular section of the tool that I would like to mention is a specific pilot case. It's really small, but also interesting, I think. It's called Albola Altogarda, that is part of the valley. And here, thanks to the project, we are going to infrastructure some fields and some aquifers. So we put sensors to collect the data on water consumption for irrigation. That is one of the main data gap that we found during the project, during the activities. And also we are going to monitor the aquifer state, let's say. So also this kind of data set will be integrated in the tool to give, we hope, let's say, a better also picture of all the water consumption that are occurring. So just to conclude very briefly, so the main impacts of this solution that we are experiencing. So this tool will hopefully help, as I said, decision makers to take more well-informed decisions, and also database based decisions on the water management, mainly in water scarcity conditions, because we also found that for the flood risk and for the, let's say, extreme rainfall, decision makers and actors are more prepared in our territory, but for water scarcity, there is really this gap of tools and of data that we would like to, let's say, help filling. And also because the gap of experience, we needed the feedback and the requirements from the stakeholder level, as I said before, and we hope that these will also be useful for the dissemination and for the use of this tool. And we also saw that including collaborating and speaking with actors in the valley, but also at the other administrative levels, improved also the collaboration between them, and we are already seeing some synergies, let's say, in place after, let's say, our workshops, for example. So we hope that this will improve in general the water management and the water governance in term. And then about tool, the structure of DSS is very modular and flexible, so could be also replicated and applied in other mountainous regions. and in regions where water management is affected by climate change, and in particular where there are different water concurrent and potentially conflicting water uses, like, as I said, irrigation, energy production, and drinking use. So yes, from my side, it's everything, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. And also Carol for the presentations on solutions in Catalonia and Valle di Laghi. We have seen different regions now in Europe are addressing water management challenges through innovative approaches, hydrological modeling, and climate adaptation strategies. Are there now any urgent questions for the Impetus presenters, or maybe also for the TransformAr presenters?
Chiara, I do not see any question. I just checked in the chat. So maybe if you agree, as we a little bit quite late, we will pass again the floor to, I think, Andrea, I think for the then I think to Guido for the conclusive remarks. So Andrea, the floor's to you.
Thanks, Chiara. It's Yanis. Andrea had to leave a little later.
Okay.
So, thanks a lot, all the presenters. And since we're running really out of time, I would like to give the floor to Guido Smith, who is coordinating the coordination support project Resilience that helps us all these years, all three sister projects. So Guido, the floor is yours. It will be nice to around 7 to 8 minutes, please, to have a closing. Thanks a lot.
Jack, thanks a lot. I will try to be faster. Not speaking faster, but trying to summarize it a little bit more. First, thanks to ARSINOE and Water Europe for organizing this event on World. We had a very good introduction from Vanessa, highlighting also, I mean, what is the status of rivers and water bodies in Europe? It's not only climate. There's a lot of pressures which we have to deal with, and let's hope that the climate adaptation action only for the water users, but also for the get better water status, because if the worst water status will be can be successful. They don't have to be. There's a lot of lessons learned also, which not a lot has been shared here, but in terms of failing or getting frustrated, you're not seeing that everything works exactly. Which you have made, which show that access to data and knowledge is very important. I think it was on the Canary Islands where we've really seen the big increase of knowledge for one of these outermost regions, which usually struggle with information, which is much worse than what we have in the rest of Europe. We still, as a project or as projects, have to work a lot on replicating, uptaking, making it easier, and also to estimate how much would it cost just to do it somewhere else, because all these projects now are funded by the European Union, but if somebody else wants to step in, it might not be that easy to get the access to the funds. So it's also important, I think it was Emily also focusing on it, and some other presentation on exploring the financing, which might step in and accessing other sources. And I think that's all from my side. Thanks again. A very interesting presentation. I've learned a lot about the demos, which I haven't been able to follow all of them with such detail. And I wish you all a very good World River Day and doing some activities with water and rivers.
Thanks, Guido. So you were fast. You were not speaking fast, and you nicely, how can I say, sum up a lot of interesting, of course, things. Thanks a lot, Guido. So we do have a couple of minutes, so eventually we're good on time. So I'm not sure if somebody would like to make some, let's say, some final remarks. From my side, I would say that it is clear today, as I said in the previous, let's say, session, the end of the previous session, I think that we do have, as I said, the knowledge. We have tested and implemented a lot all these years of innovative, let's say, processes, but we also tested new, let's say, interventions to also, let's say, get feedback and receive feedback and evaluate the results of all these solutions, which is important. So by the end of the project, this is the goal, that we report on the main findings and probably some difficulties that we faced all these years, especially on the implementation of the innovations. I think it was also clear that we need engagement from all sides, from all stakeholders. This is something that we, as researchers, as we say, and running all these projects all these years, we can, let's say, support, we can facilitate this, let's say, this all this transition to more sustainable solutions and taking into consideration nature, as we said, that climate crisis. However, we are not those that make decisions for the future of the communities or the cities or the regions. So maybe there is, we still need to find a way that we, let's say, people that make decisions hear us, and Water Europe is indeed one of these channels that we can use for from now on, and with after reporting all our findings. And this is something that we do. For example, also the final, let's say, event of ARSINOE will take place in Brussels, will take place in the Parliament. We will try to involve and invite people to listen to us and see all these achievements, with, let's say, the goal that something starts to change. Action, I liked, I mean, this is the word, I think, the key word. Test, assess the solutions, and then, let's say, try all of us to, and with all this funding that we had, and we hopefully we will have in the next years, to move some steps forward. Just to mention that this is, we always use statistics, we always use numbers. Still in 2025, we are talking about at least 2.2 billion of people all around the world that do not have, for example, access to clean water. So definitely something does not go well when it comes to people, when it comes to all these, let's say, yes, the humans, for example. So I'm not sure if Vanessa, as you started today, this nice with your introduction, the webinar, if you would like some final words, some conclusions or remarks, please, and then we will be ready to close the webinar. So Vanessa.
Thank you very much, Yanis, for passing me the word. I think that this event was a great sum up of the main key points that we should take care considering water challenges and resilience. It will be, I want to thank you all. I want to congratulate all of you for the great work that you are making in your research projects. And thank you for this great session.
Thanks, Vanessa. So concluding, I think I would like participants of this webinar. And as we say when ending a webinar, let's now start organizing the next activity, which is already, let's say, scheduled for May. And that will be also a nice collaboration, and a nice chance for all of us to be, or somehow, let's say, present our work in Poland. So thank you very much, all of you. Thanks, many thanks to the organizers. Thanks a lot, Isabella. And looking forward for the next webinar. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you too.
Yes, bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.